Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video, and the video that I actually kind of completely forgot about. I mean, not fully, but for the most part, yeah, I kind of forgot about it, I'm not gonna lie. And that is the LR Bird Coup, or the Carnival exclusive TEQ SSJ GOKU versus a Mega Shenron. This video actually came about by accident in two ways, which sounds mad. First one being, this was literally meant to be the original run of the SSJ GOKU and Vegeta versus a Mega Shenron, but I kind of thought they didn't really do anything. They got locked off like the majority of rotations, they didn't really come back until the final phase, they didn't really get to actually show what they're capable of, so I was like, I can't really upload that about them. And then I sat down and I was like, Bird Coup's done bits here. The TEQ SSJ GOKU has literally been amazing in this run, like he has been so good. And I was like, have I actually done a video on him against the Mega Shenron in Red Zone? And I completely forgot I hadn't done that. I think I kind of applied the logic of, because I beat Broly with him and also he was so good there, that he would be completely fine here. Which isn't wrong, but because of that logic, as I said, I kind of forgot to make a video on him versus a Mega Shenron. But the exact same thing can still apply of, he is still amazing here. He is easily one of the best units currently in Dokkan. And I'm all here for it. If this is where Dokkan's going to have the level for the Carnival exclusive Teal Coin LRs, I'm here for it because they are amazing. This guy is easily, as I've said so many times before, top 3 in the game. Currently top 2. I would say he's probably the best unit in the game currently on Global. On JP, he's within the top 3 because of Vegeta and Trunks, which of course we'll get in December. But he is easily one of the best units currently on Global, if not the best. I think depending on who you prefer between him and Cooler, and probably kind of the teams around them, the units around them, depends on who you prefer and what you value more in an event. For me, it has to be Bird Coup. It just has to be. Even in an event where he immediately begins with type advantage. Yes, he has his guard, which we can easily lose because of units around us, because we need the year 7s to build up, you know. Even though they massively raise defense on 18 key, the SSJ 4s can still take some damage. We have the AGL SSJ GOKU and Vegeta with us, who, as you would have seen in the previous video in Red Zone, on a super, even with full damage reduction within those first 3 turns with the 40%, they can still take 300k on a super with no item, yes, but still 300k with 40% damage reduction and 30% defense raise is generally crazy. And as I said, but considering how often they were locked off rotations and everything and it took so long to get them back on, Bird Coup was always on rotation. He was always doing his thing. He was always doing exactly what I needed him to do. And I was like, this is the perfect run to show him off. This is the perfect run. So here it's like, we're dead. No, Shenron, you've fallen into my trap. We've got the revive off. We're going to recover some HP. He's going to revive that little birdie. He's going to heal that little birdie. Bless his soul. And he is going to come back, and now he has guaranteed guard, which even while having type disadvantage where, you know, at the very beginning, yes, we have guard, but he hasn't even begun to stack yet. Yes, the initial basics may be a little bit more than usual, which is to be expected. There's still nothing crazy where you have to worry about him. And then once he takes the initial attack to get to 59% defense, my man is tanking for nothing. Double digits left, right, and center. And considering he has guard, obviously that makes up for the huge fact he does have type disadvantage in 2 phases in this event. And then you just let him do his thing. You just let him do his thing, which is sit in slot 1, whoever you have next to him, which in this case was meant to be SSJ GOKU and Vegeta, which is a huge bonus for them, considering how defensively terrible they are. Actually, I wouldn't say terrible, they're just a little bit of a shambles. Considering how not amazingly defensive they are, you know, you could have the gods next to him as well, who need to build up, but obviously a bit more defensively solid than them, especially the 2 built-in additionals. Whoever's going next to him can just chill in slot 2, do their thing. Bird Coup's in slot 1 doing what we need him to do, which is have that guard. We've got the revive off, which means we have guaranteed guard. He's guarding the entire time. The first initial attack, because he hasn't really stacked up again too much. Also, look at that, 3.5 mil crit. 3.5 mil crit. On his active, that's big damage. Also, the nullify comes in handy at just taking extra damage, taking less extra damage, shall I say. But we popped a Whis here. We're taking no damage here, even without the 59% defense. But yeah, you know, you may take a little bit of extra damage because, again, he hasn't really been stacking for too long by the time we get to this phase. You know, you may take a little bit more than usual, which is fine. You know, that initial 59% defense is a one-off. And then after that, again, as I said, he is tanking for nothing. Double digits, basics. He takes hardly anything on supers, especially with a Whis active, as you saw there. 43k damage against a Mega Shenron. Yeah, not many units can do that. Again, granted, there's a Whis active, but even without it, you know, if I had more health, obviously I wouldn't have used the Whis, but even if we had more health, he's still tanking exceptionally well. He's still tanking, you know, for hardly any damage. Or in terms of red zone standards, hardly any damage. And yeah, he's just such a good unit. As I said, even with kind of a lot of the things against him in this event, which is in the first and final phase having type disadvantage. Granted, the final phase doesn't actually super until the KO. But even so, his basics aren't light work. I mean, to some units like BirdCrew they are, but your Mega Shenron's basics in the final phase aren't light work. And because of how defensively shoddy the SSJ GOKU and Vegeta are, they were making this run a little bit difficult, hence why it took me so many attempts to actually finally get the one where I was like, yeah, that can be the video. So yeah, even with them on the team being defensively shoddy and me being incredibly careful, you know, with where I'm popping the transformations on the year 7s, you know, and also using Whis quite early, which I haven't really had to do for a while, he was still in slot 1 doing his thing. He is so good. Like, this is one of the few units in the game. This is what I mean when I said, again, quite recently, comparably to the SSJs, which is, I don't need them to be defensive gods. I don't need them to tank red zone for nothing. However, the Carnival exclusive SSJ GOKU tanks red zone for next to nothing, which he is one of the few units in the game to literally make red zone look like a cakewalk. And you know what? I'm all here for it. I am here for it. He makes red zone bosses look like pushovers, and I love it. You know, maybe not exactly pushovers. Maybe that's a bit harsh because, again, he does have to stack up his defense, which of course he's doing throughout the entire event. And because we've already got his revival, we're guarding at all times as well. And then once that initial attack happens with a 59% defense, yeah, he's kind of making red zone bosses look like pushovers. I mean, 22k there, and then bang, double digits. He's good. He's fine. In the grand scheme of things, you know, yes, that initial attack does an extra bit of chunk of damage. But once he takes that little extra chunk, which again, 22k in the grand scheme of things in red zone isn't actually that much when you consider how hard some of these bosses hit, including on basics. He's still tanking for nothing. He's still tanking for nothing. And I said, even on the phases where he has type disadvantage, just said 22k in the grand scheme of things of how hard red zone bosses can hit, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Not to mention he's been doing over like 2 million damage on supers, which a unit that can do that amount of damage to red zone bosses, when you consider how much damage reduction and health they have, along with being as good as he is defensively, while also, you know, contributing other factors, linking so well with so many good units that can go in slot 2. You know, he's basically a wall for them. You know, how many good categories he can go on. But as I said, more importantly in red zone, how good he is defensively against these red zone bosses. Doing 2 million damage against a red zone boss is still very good. Like, I know there's other units, you know, like the year 7s, even the SSJs who are doing like 3 mil crits, doing even more damage. You know, Coolers out here doing God knows how much in one turn because of all the additionals. But for someone who can tank as well as he can in red zone, and then do about 2 to 3 million damage and potentially even crit, and do over 3 more on a crit, he's very good. His damage output obviously is nowhere near Coolers, but it's still very good. Very, very good considering how good he is defensively. Not to mention that Nullify, I know we used it quite early on. It was kind of get through the phase a bit quicker considering how low our health was. Again, thanks to the AGO SSJs. You pop his active, you've just nullified one of the attacks or disabled one of the attacks, which means, I mean, it doesn't really mean too much to him, but that's an extra attack gone that he doesn't have to deal with. Which, again, because he's guarding, it doesn't really mean anything, but, you know, it definitely can come in handy depending on what phase you're facing and what stage you're on. But he has annihilated every single event and soaked up all the damage of every single hard, difficult content and event that is currently in the game. Easily, currently on global, the best unit in the game in my opinion. But do let me think down in the comments. We've now taken him through everything. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. And peace.